Are honeybees a wise investment? I follow a lot of people on YouTube. One of the people I follow is Peter Shift and Lynette Zhang, ITM Trading. They're gold investors, and basically gold hasn't done anything in the last 10 years or so. And they keep saying to invest in gold. I put my money into honeybees. I started with my first colony of honeybees 10 years ago. I don't like sitting around. I always like doing something. I like working with wood. I'm an electrical contractor. When I'm not busy doing electrical work, I'm busy doing stuff with my beehives. If you like to sit on your ass and you have some money and you want to buy a gold coin or whatever, that's fine. That's your choice. Buy a gold coin. You gotta sit there and stare at it day after day and hope that it gets, twice as much value as what you put into it. For me to go from one colony of honeybees to currently I have 256 colonies. They're not all queen right, but this is June 20th. This is the time of year where I'm making new queens. I'm not spending any money doing it. So that's your choice. Or if you want to waste your 401k, that's basically what a 401k is. The rich people have your money. They're making money off your money, and maybe when you retire you might get some of it back. Good luck. So I'll show you some more hives. Yeah, I've got two more hives sitting on an old washer that I just split today. This is the time of year if I have a colony that's not doing well, they're not going to make any honey for me. They're probably not going to be around after summer. Go ahead, split them, and see if you can get a new queen. What my thought was this year, that there's several commercial beekeepers in the state of Michigan that I know, and they migrate south during the winter. I have a hard time keeping all my colonies alive through winter because of the toxic chemicals getting into the hive throughout the year. And during the winter it actually shortens their life. It doesn't slow down anything down, but it shortens their life. And they run out of bees for the cluster during the winter, and they have a harder time staying alive. So I thought maybe I'd call these commercial beekeepers towards the end of summer and see if they want to replace some of their summer losses with some of my new colonies. I wouldn't sell them the old ones. They wouldn't want the old ones, but the new colonies with new queens. Pause again. I've never had good luck with queens that I've purchased from people. It's always been a waste of money. But I've been fairly successful breeding my own queens. And I've never sold any honey because I always save the honey and use it the following year or during the winter for the new bees. And last fall, because domino cane sugar almost doubled in price, it used to be $4.98 for a 10-pound bag. Last fall it was $8.36 for a 10-pound bag. So I made the decision not to feed any of my colonies last fall. And this last spring, I had a short cold period where they couldn't gather any nectar. I fed them syrup for just a short period of time, a few days, cost me $200. So if I would have bought the domino cane sugar last fall, I would have been somewhere between $1,000 and $2,000 worth of cane sugar. But I decided not to, and I managed to get by only losing one colony during the winter from starving. Like I said, I like doing stuff with table saw. There's the table saw. And these right here are frame ends. They're the right length, width, and thickness. All I gotta do is finish cutting the contours, and I'll show you. The last, I don't know, 8 years or 6 years has been really weird in the United States. The U.S. government created the coronavirus for the rich people. Bill Gates basically had a lot to do with it. They created it. They wanted to make people sick so they could make money selling a vaccine. And then after that, it seemed like everything got really expensive. Commodities went up. Wood went up. I used to buy wood fairly cheap and make my own hive deep. This is a homemade hive deep, but it got really expensive. So it was actually made more sense to buy hive deeps. These are 7/8 because I started with Better Bee Hive 7/8 hive, so I continued to make 7/8. It's a lot of work to cut down a 2x12 to make these hives, but I went ahead and for about the same amount of money, I bought these from Dadant a couple years ago before their prices went up. They're basically a year behind. The lumber price went up, but they still had theirs listed at previous year's price in the catalog. So I bought a bunch of those with that helicopter money they're giving out. You know, that free money the government gave out after the COVID issue. So basically, basically I could do 200 complete hives. I have a lot of my hive deeps broken down now, but I can do 200 complete hives, 2 deeps, 2 mediums, and whatnot. And I have a lot of frames sitting in here right now, frames and boxes. And here are more frame parts. These are all made up. This one here is kind of thin. Sometimes I don't reject them until just before I actually build the frame. Because when you're not working on a table saw, you don't want to spend a lot of time looking at every little teeny piece of wood. But if you can catch something before you build it, you know, if you were to build something and end up with a bad piece of wood, it'll end up breaking. But these frames here, I just finished these a few weeks ago. Got the wire in there. I'm not buying any more wax foundation. And what I'm going to do from now on, when I start pulling out my old frames, you know, the ones that are the ones like this that have been in use for several years. This one's okay yet, but when I start pulling those out, I'm going to checkerboard. I'm going to checkerboard with these. I'm not spending any more money on wax foundation. And that's another thing I bought with that helicopter money from Dadant. I bought a lot of wax foundation, and those wax foundation's gone up. It's basically a commodity. So I checkerboard these, and I'll be all right with. All I gotta do is just cut the wood, build the frames, put the wire in. I was smart. I bought a lot of wire. See, I bought 3 of these, and this is my last one. So I can do, gosh, I could probably do 1,000 frames yet, or maybe not that many, but several hundred. So basically, what I'm getting at, if you have a lot of time on your hands and you have a little bit of money, and you love doing stuff, you know, get some honeybees, get a colony of honeybees. I've been building numbers of colonies every year, so I save my honey. I'm not making any money with that. And this right here is my insulated filler that nobody else in the world uses. It's something I invented. I put 2 of these in, and I turned my deeps into a 5-frame nuke. See, I'll have 2 insulated fillers and 5 frames in there. There's be 2 of these in here, 1 on each side. And then the spring, when I start my mating nukes and it's still kind of cold, that keeps the bees warmer because I use an insulated outer cover. And then as the colony grows, I can take one of these out and I can turn it into a 7. And another reason is when you're looking to see if you have a virgin queen, you don't want to have a lot of frames in your hive. Like a few days after she emerges from the cell, she could be anywhere in that hive. And I like to check 8 days after she comes out to see if she's still there. And she may be laying at that time, or she may not be laying and be mated and be running around the hive. If I were to wait another 4 days, summer's so short in Michigan. 4 days is a long time, a large chunk of your summer. So I don't want to spend a lot of time looking through every single frame, so I try to keep the hive as small as possible, and I don't have a bunch of nuke boxes sitting around when I'm not using nukes, okay? All I have is these sitting around here, and this is from material. When I was making my hives, I had material left over, insulation board, the outer cover, underlayment, Luan or whatever they call that. That's the outer cover. And then when I cut down the 2x12 7/8, this is the wood that was that I cut off that 2x12 to make the 7/8. So I didn't spend any money to do that. It's just my time. And these right here, I like to, when I'm transporting a colony or during the winter and when I bring them inside, this is a aluminum window screen. This is a screen cover. I will put that on top of a hive, and I will put a shim on that, and then I'll strap the hive and plug up the entrance, you know, put rags, tiny little rags, pieces of cloth in these entrances, and you got your hive closed up. And you can take that hive anywhere. During the summer, I can move them that way, and I don't have to worry about just transporting them at night. Okay? So there's reasons why I do things that I don't see anybody else doing. Okay? And I'm going to pause this. You know, like I said, I have 2 businesses. I spent 4 years in the Navy, got out of the Navy, and I've worked for other people for 15 years. And when I was turned 40, around that time frame, I started my electrical contracting business, and I've been free ever since. So that's given me the time to do things on, you know, like build beehives and stuff. And this right here represents the Russian military. I'm on the side of Russia. I'm not on the side of the evil U.S. empire. So if you're an American and you despise me for that, well, you've been brainwashed, and you don't understand. Your government's been fucking you for many years. They sent our jobs to China and Mexico so the rich can get richer. They're basically destroying this country. You know, I'd like to imagine what it would be like if they hadn't done that. If everybody had a good paying job, a manufacturing job, or whatever they wanted to do, young people could have houses right now. My son is 30 years old working at Taco Bell. He's got a college degree. He was the top of his class, computer science degree. And he's working at Taco Bell, the first job he got when he went to college. Why? Is it because he's a loser? Is it because maybe there's no jobs? I don't know. Americans have been tricked into believing how great this country is when they're poisoning you. The food you're eating, all factory foods basically has mild poison in it, corn syrup and shit like that. Why are they doing that? Because they don't want you to retire and live a long life when you're older. When you get older, they want you to have health issues. And they want to drain your money, all the money you spent working your younger years, trying to get ahead and make a life for yourself. The rich people want that. So they want you to get heart disease, diabetes, and cancer, and for you to end up in a hospital. And don't worry, they have a treatment for it. Whatever you have, they have a treatment for it. And yeah, it's going to cost money. One way or another, you're going to end up paying for it. And like I said, my son went to college, Central Michigan University, so did my daughter. They both spent a lot of money in student loan debt, and they used my house as collateral. Because when they were younger, my wife didn't work. I was the only one working, and I chose to spend my money on the house. I didn't borrow money to build this. So maybe I should have saved money for their college education, but basically my son just blew it. Got all that money, $30,000 to $40,000 to pay for, and he's working at Taco Bell. You know, if I'd busted my ass and gave him the money for college, and for him to sit back, do nothing with his life and work at Taco Bell, would have frustrated me. I tried to give him good advice. I told him a few years ago, before the economy got worse, I told him, do something with your life. Don't stick around here at Taco Bell, but he didn't listen to me. He seems to like it there. So well, why did you go to college, you know? And why not just get a fast food job and not go to college and not get in debt if that's what you want to do with your life? You know, I don't understand these young people. I was 34 years old when I built this house with savings. Okay? There's my dog. I gotta pause. Alright, I had to let my dogs out. They're Siberian Huskies. It's about 90 degrees outside. I let them spend a lot of time in the house. It's cooler. I open the windows at night. I've got marble tile floors with 1.5 inch concrete underneath that, so the house stays pretty cool during the day if you keep the windows closed. So I let them outside, and now I continue this video here and finishes up. Like I was saying, I didn't waste my time. You know, when I'm older and I can't do this anymore, I can put my honeybees up for sale every spring. You go on the internet around March and April, you know, buying packages of honeybees. They sell out every year. Honeybees have a lot of value. If you're a commercial beekeeper and you're transporting your bees across the United States, making probably several $100s per colony just pollinating, and then the honey they make, I don't think they make $1,000 per colony, but they're making pretty close. So they got expenses to go along with that. But I have, like I said, I have 256 colonies right now. In a few more weeks, sometime in August, I'm going to discontinue a lot of mating nukes that haven't produced a new queen. They get 3 tries, May, June, July, and that's it. I'm going to be probably 200 or less. I understand that. But even at 200, I have like $100,000 worth of bees here. And if I were to just give up or want to retire from bees, I could sell all this to somebody or break it down to sell parts of it to different people. And I wouldn't lose any money. I would actually gain. I didn't spend $100,000 on any of this stuff, on this material, this wood and stuff. I spent my time. Your time is more precious than money. If you're not spending your time wisely and you're out having a good time spending money, that's what people do in this country. They work during the week on a miserable job to make the money for their party they're going to have during the weekend. And then they spent all their money, and the Monday morning they got to go do it all again. You guys are a bunch of idiots. Your government is taxing you, increasing our national debt, and of course they're going to keep raising the debt limit. Why? Because they're robbing from you. If the debt limit wasn't raised, they wouldn't be able to rob from you anymore. Figure it out. And all this stuff going on with Trump, I think it's all just puppet politics. All of this, like every 2 or 3 years, before every election cycle, they toss in a new puppet into the game here to run for president that says he's going to do all these things that you want them to fix. Okay, they say all that stuff. So you vote for them. And do they fix anything they say they're going to fix? Hell no. You guys fall for this. Every 4 years, you guys fall for the same old shit. I'm against the government completely, all right? Democrat, Republican, it doesn't matter to me. All the politicians in this country are criminals. Let's face it, they're criminals. We've got pedophile presidents that get away with it. We got war criminals, mass murderers that are U.S. presidents. Look at the history of the United States of genocide. We're still doing it, okay? Why do you want to pay taxes and fund the big war machine? It's all about the military-industrial complex making money. That's what this Ukraine war is. They keep sending all these weapons to Ukraine, so they have to be replaced. So who's going to make those new weapons to replace all the ones that got destroyed in Ukraine? The military-industrial complex. Come on. Wake up. All right? Man, you guys are so asleep. And like I said, Uncle Sam, he's fucking you up the ass. He may be using lubricant so you can't feel it. He's not going to wake you up. No, he's just going to fuck the hell out of you all night long while you're sleeping. That's what's going on. All right?